right. Well, good evening, everyone. Quick entry. I want to redo the intro video that I have. So I am just using this one that actually Mindy made back in 2018 or 17. So welcome. I see we have a full house. And I think my camera just moved in. I'm going to test the software. Look at that. It changed right in front of my face, and I don't know why. That's weird. Okay, let me play with something. It's good to see you all. This little camera is weird thing. I have a different camera because I'm selling the one I had that has a lot of crap I don't need and I don't use. Oh, I don't know how to fix this. Well, anyway, I have a good show. I'm starting out not very together. I probably should have had my music on for a while, but it's good to see you, but I don't want to be this close up. I don't all right. Anyway. Hi Hans. Hi Tony. Hello everyone. Yeah, I'm very very close. Okay. Why is it doing this? How about we do this and I just understand or just try to figure out why this thing is not doing what it's supposed to do. It's just a little thing. It's cute, but it's not it's more technology, but it's not this big camera, the Canon I have that I don't need. I really didn't need it. So anyway, I guess it doesn't matter. What can I do? I could put this on. I'm a little smaller. So I'm not going to because while I'm messing around with this, I want to show you a picture. My big exciting life. Here we go. I took, oh wait, no, that's today's harvest. I don't know what to do about this camera. That's today's harvest. That's just today's harvest. And then, but the big day was this, taking the cat to get shaved. Wow, that's life. Yeah, that's life. But sometimes, what I don't know. I could move back. I can't get this thing to change. Hang on a second. Hang on. I'm going to put up that picture again. Sorry about this, but I'm going to figure it out. Okay. Now is that's not even any better. Holy crap. Technical difficulty. I don't like it. I like when things work. I don't want to be this close. I like when things work exactly like they're supposed to. So now you got me so close. But anyway, it's really cute, this thing. Hopefully somebody will buy my other camera. All right, now I'm just blabbing. It's 9 o'clock. I see I could have had an intro video for the 2 minutes of bullshitting and blabbing that I've been doing. But all right, tonight's show is on Antarctica. And I found articles that no one else, God damn, this thing is really, really pissing me off. I'm going to try one more thing. One more thing. I don't know if it'll work. One more thing. Did it go back? I think it did. Oh, I think it did. Okay. Maybe it worked. So, I'm tired today. So, I found these things on Antarctica. Okay. Thank you. What can you do? It did go back. Yay. All right. Fine. So, I found stuff going on. And really, I was like, the first thing I thought of when I found the articles was, oh my God, what a bunch of slobs. I mean, and sorry about flitting, and I need to do some deep breathing and relaxing. Yes. Okay. Getting ready for a show and doing your life. It's a lot there. So I saw this a couple of days ago, and we have researchers that live in the Antarctic, and it's been going on a very long time. And so I'm going to start the show. And the first thing I'm going to do is talk about, well, the research stations, and they had different kinds of rules and regulations in Antarctica. All right. Yes, keep green, keep Antarctica green, and literally, there's still rules that say that you can dump your garbage. Like, it has to be 12 miles away from a glacier or an ice pack. I swear to God, it's not funny. It's really kind of pathetic. But all right, so here we go, and let's get this started. I have a lot of material, so my blabbing is over. I didn't have an intro. Here we go. Let me get everything up. The first article is going to. Now, let me see if you can see this. I changed a little bit of my screen too. I was playing, and you tell me if it's big enough. Well, you can't see. It's an old article. This is from 1989. And what I had done was I made a video behind me of all this. I don't know. I'm just trying something artistic and different. Made a video behind me that you can see of the Antarctic as I'm talking and reading the article. So I made them smaller. So you tell me if you like it. All right. This was 1989. And they've been talking about slobs. They've been talking about garbage in the Antarctic for a long time. Ever since they now have to move over. ever since people started going there to the what they say is pristine Antarctic, which it is not. So this was back in 89, and I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's the same type. It's the start, okay, for me, 1989 here. They were talking about the McMurdo, that research center, that it looked like a junkyard. And they burned garbage or they buried it in the landfill. Certain toxic wastes are returned to the United States for disposal. And residents sort their trash so it can be shipped back and recycled, the residents that live there. But they say now in 1989 it was a disgrace, okay? That it used to be a disgrace, but we're going to move on. We're going to see what happened. See, they let 30 years of trash accumulate by 1989. So what you see behind me is I mixed in older stuff and a little bit of newer stuff. I'm not going to show you it, but it's just there. So here is 2013 we jump to. All right, here we go. And they're talking about, this was from Cambridge University Press, the type and spatial distribution of past waste at the abandoned Wilkes Station, East Antarctica. So all of this has been problematic for a very long time. Obviously, here it is, legacy waste is a significant problem in Antarctica. Who's talking about this? Really, nobody. I came upon it. Wait till you see now what I come upon. They're talking about the same stuff. This is the case where waste generated on stations prior to the 1980s was incinerated, placed in the landfill sites, or disposed of at sea. And things are still being dumped at sea. Don't let any of this fool you. And these are scientists, and what I said in the opening was these people should know better. Maybe they do now, but they should have known better back then, I think. So it's been going on. Let's see, solid non-combustible waste, including scrap metal, copper, steel mechanical parts, occurs at 25% of the sites. So actually what they had was this percentage of trash, the kinds of trash, the types of trash that they were inventorying. So I don't have to read the whole thing. All right, but that was the start. And So 2013, after the research article came out, then of course the Smithsonian, probably other people picked this up and started writing about it. This is a picture, if you could see it. Now, maybe I should make it bigger. I think you could see it, and you guys are chatting away. So, trash dumped on Antarctica's King George Island in the 2008-2009 field season mars its image as a pristine area. Okay. So most people think of Antarctica as a harsh but pristine ice landscape where mountain tips poke through thick ice sheets. What year was this? 2013? 10 years has passed. And, but Antarctica, particularly the ice-free areas that serve as research hubs, they have a darker, dirtier side. A report released Friday, 10 years ago now, remember, called Current Ecological Situation of the Fildes Peninsula Region and Management Suggestions, authored by scientists at Germany's Jena University, shows that decaying field huts, piles of trash, and oil-slicked shorelines near Antarctica's King George Island, a logistical hub for international Arctic research. Tire treads from vehicles that veer off specifically designated tracks have gouged up sparse vegetation, including fragile native mosses. Toxic chemicals, oil cans, and broken down car batteries lie exposed in open pits. Fuel leaks from research stations infiltrate streams. We have a genuine waste problem in the Antarctic, said Hans Ulrich Peter of the University Jena in a statement. An abandoned field hut. Okay. So 1998, that's when that protocol on environmental protection to the Antarctic Treaty entered into force. Countries who signed they committed themselves to conserving Antarctic biodiversity and ecology. So how did it get so polluted? What do you think, human beings? Peter, the lead author of the report and an ecologist who has been researching the island's Fildes Peninsula for 30 years, and if he's still doing it, it's 40 now, points to the very thing that has made Antarctica a symbol of unspoiled purity. The Fildes Peninsula is one of the largest ice-free areas of the Antarctic with a relatively high degree of biodiversity, he said. The opportunity to view this biodiversity, mosses, lichens, algae, penguins, seals, migratory birds, has brought researchers and associated staff and tourists, we're going to go there too, onto the island. And this tiny peninsula houses Antarctic's highest concentration of year-round scientific stations, 3 Chilean, 1 Chinese, 1 Russian, 1 Uruguayan, and crowded roughly into 16 square miles. All right. The area is home to between 1 and 300 researchers and staff, depending on the season, and last year was visited by more than 900 tourists. Now, it's 10 years later. Are you guys getting dizzy from what's behind me? You just tell me in the chat. I'll look over at you every now and then. But I'm really into this story. All this comes with the detritus of permanent human settlement. So anybody that says to you, "Oh yes, the Antarctic, it's just so pristine and perfect." I don't have a bullshit button, but if I did, but it is this, It's horrible. And I'm not going to use that word like I did the other day, though. Actually, I use the word too much. All this, but these are. See, the research, the infrastructure, the tourism, it's putting a considerable strain on the area. And it's leading to conflict of interest between the various user groups, nature conservation and environmental protection measures. So also ironic here in this one. The biodiversity many researchers came to investigate has been invaded by invasive species they brought. So some years ago, we found that some non-native plants nearby the Russian research station Bellingshausen, explained Christina Braun, a report co-author. The report also documents the sightings of insects and other animal and plant species inadvertently brought to the peninsula. So this started a long time ago. These are people that are trained. They should have known. Couldn't they get rid of insects before they left? I don't know. I don't know without using pesticides. And then they would have brought that residue. I mean, it's just so. Doesn't it just seem like we're so screwed up? Obviously, right? Every part of the planet. So this place, they said, was the most polluted sites in Antarctica, with thousands of tons of waste lying around accumulated since its construction in 1968. This is insane. This waste has now been removed, but it was volunteer efforts. So over time, waste was buried here and elsewhere. It had been exposed, open pits of debris dot the peninsula, allowing trash to scatter in the wind. I just, how fucking sick is that? But since the environmental protocol came into effect, what was that, maybe 30, 40 years too late? Dumping and pollution on the peninsula was supposed to grind to a halt. However, the report shows that it is ongoing, and almost every research station contributes to it. Wow. So page after page of the report details just how derelict the environment has become due to recent occurrences. For example, 220 sites identified to have large amounts of litter. About 22% were freshly dumped and 15% were cast ashore by the ocean. The overwhelming majority of hazardous material findings were 200-liter drums, 13 findings, that had been lost in the countryside, as well as canisters or jerry cans of various sizes, 12 findings, which still had traces of their contents. According to labeling, which was mostly still legible, the contents ranged from aircraft fuel to disinfectant and antifreeze. Holy shit. Who exactly is generating the newly dumped trash? Not so much the tourists, the report said. They spend less time in the sensitive areas. So, bottom line, it was all these scientists and their support staff. They just weren't paying attention. Maybe they had their heads in the ice too long, right? So I'm going to move on because we're going to go 10 years now to now. 10 years later. And what came out in Nature, September 1st, 2023. Antarctic research stations have polluted a pristine wilderness. I mean, we need to flush them. It's 10 years later. All right, so here we go. What I'm going to do is actually not read the Nature article because I want to go into The Guardian picked it up, and The Guardian Australia picked it up. So I thought it would be a good one to tell you. Pollution at Australia's largest Antarctic research station exceeds guidelines for almost 20 years. Jesus Christ. I'm not laughing at that it's funny. Oh, really? I have to register for free? Oh, wait. How about I do it later? Okay. Pollution at theirs, which is Casey now, exceeded international guidelines for close to 20 years, new research shows. Wow. You know what, guys? Give me a second. I'm going to change to the other one. I'm going to turn this one off and put the bigger one on so you can see what I'm looking at. Okay. I think it's time. All right. So, and I'm also going to do one more thing if I can, so I don't make you guys dizzy for the rest of the show. If I can find what I'm looking for. While you guys talk, hi, Bob Carmody. I noticed you came in. It is always wonderful to see you. And we're going to go back to the melt. How's that? All right. We go back to the mountain and we go on. So this is now, and we have now jumped from the Antarctic, from different countries, different areas. And now, September 2023, we're going to hear about what's going on with the Australian bunch of slobs. Analyzing marine sediment levels around Casey Station between 1997 and 2015, Australian and Canadian scientists found the levels of multiple contaminants exceeded international and quality guidelines 10 years later. These included arsenic, toxic metals such as lead and cadmium, and persistent organic pollutants such as polychlorinated biphenyls. We all love it, and we know and love those. Highly carcinogenic compounds that have been banned from global production since 2001. But last for long periods in the environment. So Casey is the largest of the 3 research stations managed by the Australian Antarctic Division and one of 112 research stations on the southern continent. So that's every research station and all the researchers and their support staff. Yeah. So that's a lot of people. Antarctic research stations such as Casey are likely to pose a moderate level of long-term ecological risk to local marine ecosystems through marine pollution. I wish I had a duh. I don't have a duh either. I mean, I really have shitty things. I have to get some new sounds because things are getting worse. My sounds need to keep up. It said there could be quite significant impacts from our stations locally, said Jonathan Stark, the lead author and principal research scientist at the Australian Antarctic Division. The sediment quality guidelines have been developed for temperate and tropical ecosystems. We don't really have equivalent guidelines for Antarctica. So in a way, it's a best guess. Oh, it's a best guess. Environmental management practices on Antarctica have improved since the Protocol on Environmental Protection to the Antarctic Treaty came into force in 1998. But historical practices have resulted in a legacy of environmental contamination, the research noted. The construction of Casey started in 1964 as a replacement for the Wilkes Station. And that was abandoned in 1969, and that contains the contaminated, that has legacy waste, which means there's containers of old shit in there. Ugly old shit, polluting old shit, toxic old shit. Until 1986, solid waste from Casey was disposed in a waste site at the foreshore of Brown Bay. We wouldn't dream of doing that sort of thing these days, Stark said. But in the 60s and 70s, that was accepted practice, to dump all your waste in a convenient shoreside location. And when that got too big, to bulldoze it into the sea. How we, even the best of us, so cared about our beautiful oceans. Our beautiful, overheated, unhappy oceans and coral reefs. There was a large peak in containment levels in the late 1990s, which declined quite dramatically after a large cleanup operation in 3 and 4 that removed 1,800 cubic meters of waste material, Stark said. But since then, there's been a slight gradual increase, and that's what we were already in the 2013 material 10 years ago. So, it's the legacy chemicals are basically fuel spills and leaching metals from abandoned equipment. Lovely. Isn't that nice? But scientists were still bringing consumer products that will leach chemicals into the environment, she added. Fire is also a big threat. Should you lose shelter in Antarctica, it's a big deal. We have used perfluorinated firefighting agents and water repelling agents, and certainly brominated flame retardants. Some of these persistent organic pollutant chemicals are covered in the paper. Few Antarctic programs have prioritized monitoring. Yet that is the golden goose that will keep on laying for us if we can get standardized long-term monitoring in place, which means they need to do that research and they need to teach us what we're already learning what's going on. They're leaving their garbage. So Guardian Australia revealed last week that the Cleaner Antarctica program remediation work that would provide a cleanup strategy for Australia's contaminated sites would be restricted in the 23-24 season. Internal documents seen by Guardian Australia have suggested the project will not proceed at Mawson Station due to budget constraints. Isn't that convenient? At the Australian Antarctic Division. Probably all the money's going to war. There is some remediation work happening at Casey, which is part of a longer-term program, and that's still going ahead. Oh, I got worried about it. There are also concerns about the environmental impacts of booming Antarctic tourism, and we're going to talk about that. A record 105,331 people visited the continent last season. That's a lot of people. Black carbon from ship exhaust is accelerating snowmelt on Antarctica, research has shown. While scientists have expressed concerns about damage to local flora and potential introduction of foreign species. Antarctica, okay, what do we say? Antarctica is fucked? I mean, the glaciers are melting. The sea ice extent there is, I don't have any graphs to pull up. We're losing sea ice extent. We are going ever more. In fact, I'm going to show you a video. We will do entertainment, the entertainment part of the show. How's that? I'm going to show you a tourism video. And we're going to segue over from the scientists to the best Antarctic cruises. Okay, so these things they're gigantic. They're gigantic and they're annoying. I mean, they pollute. They get to dump out in the ocean. They're not supposed to, but tell me that they don't. But look at them. And that's not even a huge one. There's the 4 and 5 different sizes. Holy crap. So this is the tourism industry, the Antarctic tourism industry. It's insane. Why do we need this? Right. We don't. We just don't need this stuff. So I'm going to move on a little bit. I'm going to bring another video I have on. And this was people that were traveling and they got, they had a little problem.
FAA News.
If somebody had told me we had hit an iceberg, I would have believed them.
Can you imagine a so-called rogue wave hits a cruise ship, killing an American passenger? Welcome back to Midday. I'm Tashara Parker. We start with an interview, as a matter of fact, from ABC's Gio Benitez.
Whoa. This morning, new details emerging about a harrowing tale at sea.
It was going real smoothly, and we were only anticipating nothing but smooth going forward.
Tom and Pam Trustdale were on a bucket list trip to Antarctica last week when their trip of a lifetime turned into a deadly disaster. Not only was their boat, the Viking Polaris, slammed by a killer rogue wave, ABC News now confirming just one day before, a fellow passenger was seriously injured during a Zodiac boat excursion. The Trussdales were on the boat too.
The passenger across from me said, "Oh, look, there's penguins jumping out of the water." And that's when the explosion occurred.
Pam recording the tense moments on her phone as she and fellow passengers were thrown into the air.
It was a real loud, it was a boom. And I flew up in the air, and the passenger across from me flew up in the air. She came down and hit hard.
Hurt my leg though. Ouch!
I can't move mine.
I saw the woman go probably about 3 feet in the air, and then the gentleman straight across from me go up in the air and then roll over into the sea. So I went across and leaned over the pontoon, and I just grabbed on to the life jacket. He was face up, so he was stabilized, and I reassured him that, hey, you're safe.
Tom and another passenger were able to quickly pull the man back onto the Zodiac boat. The woman's legs
I
severely
just don't
injured.
think this is necessary at all, given the circumstances.
Hurt my leg. She said, "I can't feel my leg." And then I could hear her kind of straining.
Yeah,
I
Bob.
could tell that she was in a lot of pain.
The
But who
passenger's
talks
leg
about
requiring
this?
surgery, leading the ship's captain to turn back to Argentina immediately through the treacherous Drake Passage, known as one of the most turbulent stretches of ocean in the world. The water's rough.
My God.
Around 10:30 p.m. the next night, a rogue wave crashed into the Polaris, killing one passenger, Sherry Zhu, and injuring 4 others.
This wave hit it and came over and literally broke through windows and just washed into these rooms. And not only did it wash into the rooms, but it broke.
They're probably
walls
all
down,
suing the cruise
and
company.
Some walls went into the next room.
You could see that there were windows out on about, I don't know, somewhere around
High stuff.
6 of the rooms,
Six
or 8.
6 or 8 in varying degrees.
Viking saying in a statement it is investigating the rogue wave incident and committed to the safety and security of all guests and crew.
How about just not doing it? You know, how about just not doing it? I've got one more to show you on this. Now, this is like the, this one I'm showing you is kind of like the, well, let me find him. Okay, Swoop. This is the cool dude trip. Okay, here's our cool dude trip. We're going to swoop now. So we just saw the swoop, and I don't need to be up here 2 times, do I? No. So I'm going to move on to this one real quick, but just do some discussion. So you see the this, I've used this before. Jennifer and I used this website before. Cool Antarctica, and they've got a lot. They talk about mining and oil, and what I was reading, which I didn't pull up, was about nobody has expressed interest to mine, and and in Antarctica, and I find it so hard to believe that. I don't know. I didn't go as deep into that, but obviously this one they're talking about this is it. There has never been any commercial mining in Antarctica. There are no current plans to mine Antarctica, and mining is currently completely banned by the Antarctic Treaty until 2048. There are no known future plans by any of the Antarctic Treaty nations to reverse the decision. So wouldn't that be nice if it stays like that? I really hope so. But what we were talking about was the human impacts and what has been done. And they talk about it, about this. What did I want to find? The main threat facing global warming, losing the sea ice, fishing, both legal and illegal, invasive species, as we spoke about. And that's what is being brought in. Organisms not native to Antarctica. They're coming in the ships and attached to, as seeds to boots and clothing. Wow. And they can survive because it's getting warmer. Boy, wow. Tourism, with accompanying pollutants that accompany ships and aircraft, the possibility of oil spills, and the effects of lots of people and infrastructure on wildlife and the wider environment. Pollution, the CFCs, and other ozone depleters are responsible for the ozone hole that has appeared over Antarctica for over 40 years. Oh, remember that, the ozone hole. Chemicals produced thousands of miles away are found in Antarctic ice and in bodies of wildlife. Discarded equipment, chemicals, and oil can degrade the landscape. Fishing nets, plastic, lines, hooks, etc., carried by the sea can result in great suffering or loss of life by birds, fish, and marine mammals. And exploration, not currently economically viable, but as the need becomes greater and as technology advances, you bet your ass they're going to do it, okay? I don't even have to read that. Direct impacts associated with the development of infrastructure for scientific bases and programs. This is where I would say all the responsibility needs to be flawless. And I hope they are directing the way to go for the future. I did see a few sophisticated videos that the British have quite a sophisticated setup now, with trash removal. But they still have to put in roads, fuel storage, runways. It's cold there. They have to heat themselves, and they're certainly not doing it with wood. As it is an important lab. Okay, it is. And we wouldn't know a lot if we didn't have these labs. But these scientists cannot be slobs. They have to be the best of the best. And I certainly hope that that's happening. Okay? And we all know about everything, that Antarctica is the sensitive indicator of global climate change. The polar ice cap holds within it a record of past atmosphere that go back tens or even hundreds of thousands of years, allowing study of the Earth's natural climate cycles against which the significance of recent changes can be judged. So as we went through what happened, and I showed you with the other articles, they go through and they're talking about a cleaner future and alternative energy sources and more modernized, definitely more modernized materials. And we have shown you this before. It is a nice website. They really have a lot on here. So I'll put the link in the show notes, and you can play with it. See, they do have all about traveling, everything. I mean, it really is a travel site, but it's separate from what I was showing you, the different travel videos and those, what happened to those people. And so, but it is a good site. So, all right. So really, basically tonight, I just had a New York Times article, that was talking about tourism in Antarctica. This was actually 2021, I believe. And they were 2020, talking about, how fucked it is. Sorry. I mean, do I have to read the whole article to tell you it is really not such a great thing to do this? And that let's see here. They're strained. Krill, toothfish, species, everything. So stop it. How do we get that to stop? Because it's booming, right? Because it's money. How do we get that to stop? I don't know how we get that to stop. I honestly don't know. I mean, can you think of ways? Is it something that is worth the fight? Is it worth our people fighting? I don't even know if I found any activism sites to keep Antarctic pristine when it's not. So, all right. Well, let me take a look at you guys, what's going on in the chat. I certainly hope you enjoyed what you learned and brought Antarctica into your mind to know that it's everywhere and it's sad. And it's not just our climate problem. It's not just global warming. It's what humans are doing to the planet as a result of basically overshoot. And for those of you that want to understand overshoot, William Catton is the daddy of overshoot. And there's a video on my channel, and you can learn. And he just is. I'll put links in because I'm getting distracted. But anyway, hello. Kim, I want to thank you for moderating. Yes. And Jean, it's nice to see you here. Thank you. Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, he's okay. That's right. William Reese is the uncle of overshoot. That's right. We had the daddy and we have the uncle. So, but don't let this get out of your mind. We talk about the science and we talk about what's happening in Antarctica and the graphs and the measurements and all. Sorry, I'm always thirsty. But we don't always talk about what happens. We don't. So good night. And yes, we do. We need to start thinking about sending our legacy and memory out into space where it can be maybe found in millions of years. Well, yeah. All right. Wait. Google, stop ecocide Earth. Okay. We will. Let's do that. No. I presented a library program about how Ohio affects Antarctica and how Antarctica affects Ohio. That had to be completely the coolest thing. Like you, she is cooler than cool. Yes, she is. And Robert says he has to do my best with family and all the other distractions. He's had dreams. 2 to 3 years ago, he had one that he was watching a newscast that they were setting off a nuclear device in Yellowstone. That's a horrible dream. Yeah, it is. As long as they don't use plastic bags, right? Well, anyway. Hey, yeah, why don't you write some sci-fi? We have very wait, you are? Well, we can hear it again. We don't have to see it. All right, guys. Kim wants me to stay on because she doesn't want to cook. Well, I finished my show. I really have nothing. I even showed you my harvest and my kitty cat. I'm going to say goodnight. Aw, let me see if I saved any. Okay, back about the people. I went to Antarctica to complain about the waves. That's a pretty good one. Yeah. Okay. I wonder what the environmental consequences of space tourism will be. They'll never come back. I can't even think about that. It's already so abstract in my head that we fouled and befouled Antarctica. And I found the history of it. Passengers block the sewage systems on cruise liners, as a maintenance engineer told me, so they have to bypass filtration treatment plant. So they dump the raw effluent. Wow. Effluent. Why does that sound like it reminds me of a lot of politicians? And at that note, guys, I can put on that other video and take off my screen share. Come back, say goodnight, find the video, and end with the Antarctic video I made. Let me see. I don't know if it's still here. I think it's gone. Oh, darn it. I've only got the cruise articles. I don't have the other one, the one that was behind me. Well, good night, everybody. Jennifer and I will see you on Friday night. And don't forget, buy me a coffee, help out if you like our content. And of course, like and subscribe. Yeah, that's a big thing. Thank you for moderating, Scott.